Welcome back to the only place you're allowed to get freaky with Groot. That's right. It's Rivals Fright Night. Brought to you by Uber and Jake. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are now turning our attention to North America. Jake said, I want to get weird. I said, watch this. Here we go. Shroud-X versus Shikigami. This is just the challenger match, Jake. And we're not even putting money on the line until later in the show.
I mean, both of these teams want the chance to go up against 100 Thieves in the money match. They're the juggernauts of North America. They've established it time and time again. And so this is a big opportunity for one of these teams to put that challenge to the best in North America and see if they can take the crown.
Uber, did you sew that together of your children's blankets, or what is this shirt made of today?
Sorry, buddy. That's definitely one image. That is a continuous image, bro. This is where I'd rather be.
Dude, that's all I'd say.
Sheesh. I mean, bro, I'm feeling good. I've been on holiday. I didn't get this shirt on holiday, although you'd be forgiven for thinking I did. I haven't had a holiday in 2 years, so I went away and skied in the Swiss Alps for a couple of weeks, and I'm back ready to do some Marvel Rivals casting. I've rested my voice, and I'm ready to rumble, brother.
You seriously went to Europe and went skiing?
I went to St. Moritz, baby. Yep, Swiss Alps.
You're kind of my hero right now. All right, unfortunately, we have to talk about video games tonight instead of skiing in the Alps, but we're glad you could join us. Let's talk about the teams here, Jake, because we got some good ones and a fun bracket for the night. Shroud-X has a bit of experience playing against the Shikigami squad. In fact, they met up just a week ago in MRI. So talk to me about the showdown in the Invitational. What went down there?
Well, this is going to be Shroud-X looking for revenge. Shikigami was able to get the better of them in that match. And although it was a strong showing for Shikigami, I feel that at this point in Marvel Rivals, there's always that opportunity to innovate and improve. The Shroud-X squad, they haven't been together for that long. So I think for both of these teams, it's an opportunity to show where you are now. Like what happened 1 week ago is in the past. And for these teams that are vying for the top that want a shot at 100 Thieves, well, they're going to have to be stepping their game up. And so I'm excited to see if Shroud-X can do that today.
Uber, I thought it was so amazing when Nate Shaw went out, started his own org, he announced his 100 Thieves. Now Shroud announces Shroud-X. What is this pressure as a player, knowing that he's streaming to 10, 15,000 people every time you go live?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I really do feel like it's kind of an evolution in esports. Like I think co-streaming was the first step in that regard, like big streamers getting involved in esports in this kind of way and bringing new audiences. Now I think ever since Disguised Toast started talking publicly about what it took to run a team, and Shroud literally goes and raises the money for this team, it's kind of crazy, right? It's awesome to see a new way for these massive content creators to get involved and to give an opportunity to these up-and-coming players. This Shroud-X team, who were previously Intergalactic, of course, were fighting it out. They came together as a roster, improved themselves, caught the eye of someone like Shroud, and now they're here. Of course, this is why the team formed, right? Forget about the MRI. That was last week. Now it's Rivals Fight Night, baby. $1,000 on the line. That means Shroud's team wins this. It's $1 million, $1,000 he has to work with this team. That's pretty sick.
That is some decent money. Take a look at the roster that'll be banking on a win tonight. We got Doomed, Vision, Window, Impunity, Dogman, and Fidel. We don't know what Dong is going to be playing tonight, so we put a Jeff on there. Is the triple Vanguard going to be the way to play in NA, or is it going to be more of the 2-2-2 mix with a whole lot of Star-Lord like we just saw from EU, Mitch?
I mean, look, I do think that triple strategist right now is really potent. A huge amount of that comes down to what Adam Warlock can do. And when you bring in a Mantis, when you add that to the Star-Lord and you have that sort of staying power, that resurrect capacity because of the team up, that really makes that more viable. I do also think it's a strategy that you can target in the ban and protect. And we've seen it before sometimes with the Loki, and if God forbid Lunar Snow ever makes it through. You can't ban out every strategist, and some of the more niche ones are getting looked at this stage in this patch, so I won't rule it out.
For me, I mean, I'm looking at Doomed and Vision. I think these two duelists are a key part of the success for Shroud-X. I would rather see them run double duelists when you have heavy hitters like Doomed and Vision on the squad. I want to see them on characters that they can really pop off with. They can find that individual impact. Those picks we've seen from top teams like 100 Thieves, they're very confident in taking risks, letting heroes like the Hela through the ban phase and playing them with confidence, winning their duels. I think to be a top team, to put yourself in that position of strategic advantage, you need to have huge threats on the duelist lineup so you can draw some of those bans away from the strategists, away from the vanguards, and force people to just respect ban your Hela. It doesn't really limit the strategies you can play. It's just forced if you're dominating in the mirror.
Jake, where my brain is small, I jump into a game and I just play it over and over and over again until I'm decent. You use your brain and you think about what could give you an advantage jumping into a match. Is there an OP composition or hero that you want to see played tonight? Who do you think is at the top of the meta right now?
You know, I think one of the things that we've seen in a hallmark of NA is more and more teams are starting to let Hela through the ban phase and to just like take the duel heads up. Hela has been a super contentious hero, really the whole history of Marvel Rivals, because, you know, people call her the server admin, the way she just takes over the lobby and really defines in many ways the outcome of the game when you're getting these opening picks without relying on ultimates or key resources. You know, you have so much mobility. The stun can also be a huge playmaking tool in the right moment, sometimes even canceling an ultimate. And so I think for the top teams, right, to be a team like Shroud-X that wants to show you can compete with the big boys, Hela is going to be really something I have my eyes on. You need to be forcing the other team to respect ban your Hela, putting you in a position to dictate the rest of the match and sort of define, do you want to play triple strategist? You have a lot more power to do that if the opponent is always like first banning a Hela because they're just too scared to have it out on the field.
Well, let's see what Shikigami is bringing to the table tonight, Mitch. This is their second roster. The first one scooped up by FlyQuest, so the ownership group invest in these folks. What do you think of what we've seen so far outside of the upset in MRI?
First of all, Shikigami are getting very good at having to do this. They, in a lot of different games, they will pick up good rosters and often have them sort of, you know, picked apart a little bit by these bigger orgs that come in really, you know, with a blank check to offer these teams. But look, this roster, frankly, like, I think there's a lot to be excited about here. It wasn't a great run through the Marvel Rivals Invitational. We didn't get to see anything from Shikigami until they got into the lower bracket, which was already pointed out on this show. They managed to beat Shroud-X in at 3-1, knocking them out of the lower bracket. Then they advanced against Envy and had a really competitive game. So I do think here that there's probably a little bit of a score to settle between these rosters, as I think Shroud-X would have loved nothing more than to come out, hit the ground running after, you know, a decent showing, hit Marvel Rivals Invitational and make it through that lower bracket. These guys stood in their way. To us, you know, we often look to see if there are players in previous games that we know about. Melophobia, Amadian, both of them, we've seen them in other tac shooters. They're excellent players. Great to see them here on the duelist role. I think this team has definitely got legs.
Can I get a super fan from Shikigami to help me with pronunciation? Is that Days, Melophobia, Amadian, Krazmang?
Yeah.
Help me out.
I would say Crazy Mang.
We got a Scatter Genji. I can do that one. And Dinks and Ricky. Thank you, Rick, for keeping it simple. First half, way more intimidating than the second half. Shikigami gonna be taking on Shroud-X tonight. It's a best of 5, and we've got our first map pre-decided. It's the Royal Palace. We don't know which stage we're gonna be playing first, but Mitch, I have a feeling we're gonna see some interesting bands tonight that are gonna tell us right away what comps they want to bring out.
I think, like Jake was touching on it here, that, you know, some of these teams are starting to let some of these individual duelists through the ban phase, and that also might be required if teams are trying to opt out of playing against triple strategists. Just one hero making it through can really change the complexion of the entire game, can force entire compositions crafted to counter them out here. So as we jump into each of these games, remember, NA are a little bit more risk tolerant than EU, I think, when it comes to, you know, how they approach the metagame here. I would like to see the volatility of, like, maybe letting a Hela through or even a Wolverine through or something like that, because again, against multiple strategists, burst damage is king. And there are only a small number of ways that you can get that kind of burst damage, right? Meteor M, Hornet Proteus combo, Strangling Prison combos. These are ways that you can try and cut through all of that large healing over time that these strategist backlines provide. So, you know, we know what Hela can do. She can delete people in a couple of shots. This is what I'm looking at for a team who's just so good, you know, mechanically to overcome just the power, I think, of healing in Marvel Rivals.
Jake, I don't think I've heard again more than twice in a row tonight. Is Bucky dead? Is he out of the meta now?
I wouldn't say Bucky's dead. I think it can still be super strong. I think it's a question of whether teams want to let triple strategists through. If you let the Adam Warlock team up come through with the Star-Lord, okay, it's probably a little bit stronger. Bucky, you know, with that level of mobility and the reses on the field, it's just not nearly as good to be, playing for these hook pickoffs where you get this, crucial hook, you find the pick, and then, okay, they're just self-resed and they're right back into the fight. That doesn't make the hugest difference in the engagement. However, I think, teams maybe a little bit more averse to the triple strategist meta may want to focus on the Hela, the Wolverine, like you said, Mitch. I think those are the two duelists for me that have the most significant strategic impact on the game, whether they're banned or let through, because we've seen Hela and Wolverine both really dictate the pace of games. Whether if Hela has like a great position to free fire from, the opponent has no choice but to force some kind of aggression to dive on you. And honestly, even teams that played really aggressive into the Hela, you still want a Hela of your own, and a lot comes down to just winning those duels. Wolverine, very different in terms of what it specifically does to the game, but it makes the game much more critical about it from a positioning perspective, right? If you have one of your vanguards overstepping a little bit, they're just going to get pulled way into Africa and just like absolutely eaten by the rest of the squad. So it really puts a lot of pressure on the team play, making sure you cancel that enemy Wolverine's pull. We've seen a lot of like top level invisible one players be really good at particularly shutting down Wolverine when he tries to, grab one of your teammates and kidnap them away. And so I think those are the two that I'm really excited with. Both of these teams, I mean, they sent us their rosters, their preferred heroes. They both put Hela and Wolverine respectively on players. And so I'm really curious to see, will we see some of those really strong duelists that are meta defining? Will we see them get through the ban phase where many teams have said, you know what, we don't want to deal with that. We want to focus on the team game. My sense is that NA tends to be a little bit more individually confident in like, let's take that coin flip. Let's take that gamble and just believe that we are the better team. And I think there's something important about that vision. If you don't think you're the better team and you're always banning these key duelists, you're going to let the other team have more power in terms of what strategists they bring to play, the team ups they get with their vanguards. And so banning, I think, is a little bit of a sign of weakness if you're going to be banning Hela and Wolverine all the time.
After that TED Talk, Shroud-X and Shikigami, if you're not in the lobby, we're going to kick you off the show. Neither of you get to play 100 Thieves tonight. No, honestly, Jake, it's amazing just listening to the depth of your knowledge on this game, and we're going to get to hear it throughout the night. Mitch, we're trying to get weird, though, and you came up with some amazing surf and turf. That was our Horn of Proteus and the Strangled combo from Groot. Is there anything else that we're hoping to see tonight? Because we had some amazing Jeff ultimates, but they weren't comboed with anybody earlier.
No, I mean, I thought it was really interesting to see that Jeff kind of targeted at shutting down front lines. Because again, like we talked about, burst damage is really important in Marvel Rivals to cut through this healing, and a lot of the durability cooldowns good tanks can cycle through pretty easily, right? Vanguards are just general, very hard to break down. What could be more burst damage than literally insta-killing people by, jumping off the map with them? And of course, sometimes you've got to jump off with them because a few of those Vanguards have mobility to get back onto ledges. So it's an option, Pucker, but I don't think I expect to see it here. I'll leave that one in the niche column.
All right, we're not going to see any Loki right away. And on the other side, Wolverine out of the game for Shroud-X. So I like what we're seeing early on. Groot, going to be in the games tonight, Jake. All right, we're protecting a Vanguard right away.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams have preferred to protect Groot because it really does, from the Vanguard position, dictate the pace of the game. It allows you to slow things down pretty significantly. Interesting to see that Loki is banned with the Luna Snow Protect and the Namor ban. So Shikigami want the Luna Snow, but they're not interested in the team up, that threat of like the one-shot burst combo coming from, Namor's damage amp Horde of Proteus with that ulti combo, on top of course, the team up threat directly just making Namor and Luna a little bit more effective in battle. Rocket Raccoon Man, pretty interesting. I mean, we've seen occasional Rocket comps with Bucky or the Punisher, but maybe just niche, and maybe Shroud-X not feeling like they want to ban a super significant duelist. They clearly, both teams are going to let Hela through here, so expect to see a lot of that on Royal Palace.
And also, I want to point out the Adam Warlock team up is still on the table here. So a lot of powerful heroes, Puckett, are actually available for these teams.
If you see a Mantis, the triple support is down. The res comps are going to be out and about. We'll find out what is brought to the table for game number 1. Will we see Hela play here on Rivals Fight Night? Fidel, stay on that, Jeff. I dare you.
Thank you very much, Puckett. Yes, both of these teams fighting for the opportunity for the right to take on our current Marvel Rivals Invitational champions. Of course, Rivals Fight Night champion, 100 Thieves. This, of course, will be quite the battle as these two teams are familiar enough with one another, and Fidel is giving us some glimmer of hope here. Impunity, we thought they might flex briefly onto the Venom, which is an option. It will be Groot, and Jake, feels like these Groot comps really benefit from being in control of the point. So winning that first fight really gives you an edge.
Interesting. They're going to go with the triple support here, really valuing that. But Shikigami think that they can get more done. They're going to let the triple support through with the Star-Lord all the team ups. They're just valuing that raw poke damage. And honestly, on this map with all the open space, I feel like Hela and Winter Soldier get some space to work. They could really produce. It might be hard for Doom to get in on the flank here, even with all the strategist support.
Wise for Shroud-X to actually aim a ban at the Rocket Raccoon. They must know, of course, that Daze prefers to come in on that Bucky when possible, but Vision's already been taken down. That's the volatility that the Hela invites into the game. Vision, of course, able to get back into the fight here with that Karmic Revival. Soul Bond active here on Shroud-X as they want to push up just a little bit more, but Doom is low on the periphery. Shroud-X in general taking a lot of damage, and Vision dies a second time to Amadian, who is not missing on this Hela.
Yeah, Amadian going to start to take over this fight now, right? And taking down Vision, that's the primary other duelist that would be actually challenging him. Star-Lord too scared to take this engagement. Support from Invisible Woman as well. So Amadian over the top is going to be assisting in getting this fight cleaned up for Shikigami. And you know, with all the space to work with on this map, really challenging to get on top of and shut down a Hela. And as strong as, you know, the Star-Lord can be with that res, Amadian just gets kills back to back to back and doesn't really worry about the reses.
It's crazy how effectively you can support a teammate that's playing an off angle with that Invisible Woman. Throw up the Guardian Shield, give some protection to the Hela, and also just passive healing so long as that shield is up. Now you can start to punish the fact that Shroud-X need to move through a choke, and already Krasmang is trying to set some of these walls up here to hit Shroud-X as they move their way through. Soul Resurgence available for Nuck, is going to pop it straight away. Fate of Both Worlds also active here for Shikigami now, as in we drop it to Meteor M that doesn't seem to find too much, but a big stun on Impunity and Vision will render Shroud-X virtually useless in this fight. Nuck at least will be able to return to the fray, but floating on down is Amadi and Jake finding another key kill on the Mantis.
Hela used just to stay alive here, but I think that's all Hela really needs to accomplish. She's already done her work, securing a couple eliminations. These are just going to be stagger kills for Shikigami, and that aggressive commitment of ults on the high ground choke ends up paying off. I was thinking Shroud-X were going to be able to stay alive, tank through with the help of those strategist ults and the triple strategist comp, but it just isn't enough, and Vision has had enough. He's over to the Hela. They're going to take the duel. I like this decision on the map, but is it too little too late?
Potentially. Mad Cannon there takes Vision down pretty much straight away, and Doomed at least gets a bulwark shield as they try and back away. Galactic Legend is available. They might want to try and get some airtime here as the Strangling Prison comes in and Impunity falls to Amadi, and again, they're running away with the game. Daze falls. Doomed at least is able to find some value here on that Star-Lord, but Vision is caught on the outside of this fight looking in, and we are already at 80% and counting. Shikigami are holding onto an invisible boundary to boot.
Yeah, Shikigami has a real mastery of this map, and they're just tightening the newts now. Every hold is a little bit more forward, a little bit more aggressive as they take yet more of the map away from Shroud-X. Now it's going to be a little bit tough to get this recontest in. Vision going to sneak in from lower, try to work a cheeky pick, and then he does have that ultimate to back up the play. Shikigami, do they see this coming? The point touch comes in.
Okay, Doom has the touch. Here comes the Galactic Legend now. It's a pretty safe angle he's trying to take. There's, of course, a Fate of Both Worlds in play for Shikigami. They've come up with that ultimate at just the right time, and Ricky has not had to ultimate at all this round. Here's a Meteor M coming on down. Scattergenki now parting with that key ultimate, and Dongmin's able to get some work done. Amadian crucially picked off at the start of this fight. The mission's unperturbed here by, of course, that invisible boundary still happen to throw some of those shots in. But Shikigami are down to 4 players here, and it's a matter of time before they are evicted.
All right, Shroud-X, they're going to get the flip here. Resets now coming for Shikigami. They've got what they came for in the fight. They've secured 99% capture, so it's just going to be one flip for Shikigami to win the round. However, easier said than done. Now, Shroud-X, they're going to be delivering the Hela themselves. Let's see if Vision can have that masterful defense that Amadian showed when they were in point control.
And again, they've got Fate of Both Worlds on their side. Also, Strangling Prison active. There's not a big combo to use with that ability right now. Obviously, Meteor M's a decent candidate in many cases, but still being able to lock people in place. That Groot ultimate is very powerful in its own right. Some of those walls here trying to be erected as in comes Impunity. They do catch that front line out, and Daze is on the receiving end of some of that Magneto damage. He won't be able to limp away. Krasming also is picked off, but it's a backup here for Amadi, and they are likely going to have to leave the point, though. Not much they can do against the whole team.
The flip is nice. I'm not sure that's worth it. It makes it a little bit awkward to hit the forward hold, but I think Shroud-X are going to be back in time to keep resetting and dealing with this high ground, and they are just ticking up. It was a relatively cheap fight using only that Groot ultimate. You feel pretty good about that for Shroud-X. Going into the next fight, they also have the advantage in the strategist ult department, so Shroud-X are actually in a pretty solid position. That being said, though, Doom pulled into his death. Full back now for Shroud-X. They try to regroup, try to meet that spawner. They're going to have to fight 5v6, though.
You've got to watch out. Tainted Voltage can pull you down from the sky if you are airborne. It's something you've got to respect, especially at those closer ranges. Amadian's got a pretty safe vantage point here. This is great frontline pressure that's being put down. You can see Dongmin can't really hang around now. It's got to be a meteor in from Dongmin. Try and break himself out of this deadlock here, and almost was able to catch on to Ricky, but couldn't bring him down. It's the fate of both worlds for Shikigami. Keeps him nice and topped up. Kraken impact comes in for days. We see the debuffs apply, but no resets as of yet, and Vision is speculating. Oh, buddy! He goes fishing and he comes out with Moby Dick. That is messed up. Vision good for 4. Shroud-X shut the door in Shikigami's face. They've used all their ultimates, Jake, but they're good for this. One more fight will decide the round.
Shikigami heads up swap here to the Doctor Strange. They're going to gamble everything on the TP to point, try to brawl it out from there. Shroud-X seems like they see this coming. They're waiting on the point, waiting for the teleport. Magic is well online. Can she bring that chaos?
Here we go. From above, got us a death here from Amadian. They're going to be knocked out of it here. It looks like they didn't quite get the value they needed, but Impunity has fallen. That has caused the Groot off the table here for Shroud-X. Fidel and Nook going to have to keep them topped up, but it's a big job. It's a tough ask, and Amadian able to bring Nook down. We have to switch to the magic of all things. Dace coming off the Winter Soldier and is able to find some value. Vision can only hover. Look on in dismay as Shikigami spend much of the round getting folded in that second half, but come back to reclaim the point.
Maybe a tiny bit of over-ulting from Shroud-X in that last fight to secure control of the point, but that was an extremely close first round after a great start from Shikigami. So Shroud-X, I don't think they're out of this one yet. I think we're in for a pretty competitive series based on how that round 1 went. Curious to see what Dongmin can work on the Magneto. Was a big performer in the last round.
That was crazy, that last round. I think we saw Vision get 2 kills off of the Nastron Crowstorms, the detonation of, knocked out enemies. I think you got 2 kills from those. So Shikigami must have been so grouped up inside that invisible boundary, Jake, that they ended up going down to like the aftermath explosions from 2 down teammates.
Yeah, I think there's, all the control coming in from those Vanguards, from the rest of the squad. Now both teams queuing up a little bit more of that front to back style. Shroud-X confident that they can take the mirror on the duelist front. So a lot of pressure, especially I think on the Buckies, the Hellas on this map. There's not as much space to work with. You get forced into these more, close quarters duels that are a little bit less comfortable. And it's, I think, a real test of these players' ability to just win those early 1v1s and create opportunities for their squad.
Krazmang able to bring almost 3/4 of that ultimate into this next fight here. Might be critical. As Impunity is soaking up most of the damage here. See the screen being thrown up there by the Magneto, and desperately you have to back away. Nice use of the bulwark there. Impunity will live to fight another day, but Shikigami have priority and a start in the cap.
This is a big advantage here. Now you have to walk forward on this Groot, taking tons of damage. Full commitment from Shroud-X. They look to contest this point, but pulled in by Bucky. Groot is in big trouble. However, traded right back.
Dace is going to fall now. Winter Soldier starting to get a bit of action here. And it's going to be Fidel with the fate of both worlds now. Shikigami have to wait this out, but they do not have the staying power. Meteor M here, a bit desperate from Scattergengi. Something that might have been better left in the back pocket for another fight. Clearly hoping to try and take down that Lunar Snow, but Dinks also invests an ultimate here. Really, it feels like it's just going to drag things out. Nobody in control of the point yet. Vision's able to find Amadian, and eventually Shroud-X will have the first cap.
And Shikigami threw good money after bad in that fight, dumping that Luna Snow ultimate despite losing players. And so Shroud-X are in control with 5 full ultimates. They're in a fantastic position. Needs a bit of a hero play right now from Shikigami if they want to win this next fight. Maybe the best you can hope for is just draining this massive ultimate bank that Shroud-X have to work with.
Here's Doomed on the screen. Kraken impact at the ready. Bear in mind now, Shikigami still have plenty to work with themselves. We've run into a huge bank of ultimates on either side pretty quickly in this round. 24% and counting. Shikigami now going to play around the Goddess of Death here, and Doom might have to reposition very quickly. There's damage coming in around, but most of the Shroud-X players are able to get out of line of sight of that. Dace, though, finds some revenge. Rosterstern connects with Impunity, and now the Groot is out of the picture. An invisible boundary is going to be drawn here. Dace has to work from the outside of it, though. Here's Meteor M. That's scary. Dongmin gets deep, tries to throw it out. A Scattergengi does go down. Shroud-X still with the advantage.
Yeah, they're in control for now. Fidel dropping low. Vision as well, forced into ult. Trying to clear this Hela off the flank. Gets the job done in the end. It's an expensive hold, but they still have kept control of the capture, ticking up over 60%. Now Shikigami on the retake. They have an incredibly potent ultimate setup though. Crazy Man, if you can land this strangling prison, you're going to be hearing some against in this next team fight. That Bucky ultimate, so insane at cleaning up. However, Fidel almost has the Luna Snow ultimate. That's going to be the key number to watch right now as Shikigami look to get in.
Yeah, up to 90% now. Fidel is definitely going to have that fate of both worlds ready for this next fight. Shikigami biding their time, but there's only so long they can afford to waste. It's 80% and counting now for Shroud-X, and it's time to go in. Big damage here taken by Impunity, but they're able to jockey back a little bit now. Shikigami surely have to start to push forward here. Crazy Man's trying to get there, of course. Daze has a cracking impact. Rodian goes in with it, does get good catch there, and Nuck does go down. It means a reset for him, but Daze is going to bide his time, try and get more of those debuffs on, and he has applied them, but it's going to be very difficult to trigger a reset now with that Lunasoul ultimate active. Shikigami now have to regroup. They still haven't capped the point, but a Meteor M might let them break through one individual. Hot on the heels was Fidel trying to get away from the Meteor that nipped at them, but Crazy Man is able to find two, and Shikigami will finally get control.
Man, it's painful though. Ricky had to deploy that invisible barrier to secure the point flip, and now Shroud-X have the clear edge as they look to get in on this retake. Amadian, really the only ult that Shikigami are going to have to work with on the defense from this Hela. Need to see some early opening picks on the walk-up right now. If Shroud-X can just get up close to the point and get the ults off in sequence, this should be an easy fight for them. A lot of pressure on these Shikigami duelists.
A question of how much time Amadian can buy here with the Goddess of Death. Can he force a disengage from Shroud-X for long enough for some more of these big ultimates to get ready? Impunity actually got picked off. Here comes a Kraken impact now coming out from Doomed, and Crazy Man already falling to Dongmin. Amadian floating above the action is caught out by Vision, is sitting dark to the enemy Hela. Scattergenki trying to back away. Attain of Voltage will connect, and Shroud-X are back in control, folks. Shikigami seemed to be in disarray. Nothing Daze could have done there. Caught out, and Dongmin really connecting these shots when it counts. Shikigami might be trying to just keep a toe in while reinforcements come, but they are going to be staggered for the entirety of this fight. And that's going to be an even game now on Royal Palace.
Nice pull in by the Invisible Woman there, getting the cleanup for Shroud-X, getting that Magneto off the corner of the point where he's trying to just dance so passively. And Shroud-X, that's a pretty strong round. However, now we're 1-1. We go to the decider. Curious to see if either team will swap it up or back down. I can't see that, honestly, with how this game has been playing out with Amadian and Vision going blow for blow on the Hela. I think both of these players are going to have that confidence to keep this going, maybe the whole series, Mitch.
It's pretty satisfying, Jake, that so much of our initial conversation was the juxtaposition of the triple strategist and the Hela in these compositions. And Vision made that switch off to the Hela. And since then, the fortunes for Shroud-X have been vastly improved, especially over the course of this round. 20k damage, that's for someone who was not playing Hela from the start of the round. So outsized impact is an understatement. There's Goddess of Death available for Vision for this first fight, and Shroud-X feel like they've got the wind in their sails now.
Yeah, it speaks to Vision's experience in the genre, right? You think a lot of these teams would come in with what they practiced, what they expected to be the strongest, and it would take them maybe a map loss or two before they can adapt. Vision, it's like half of one round, and he's already feeling the pressure, making the read, and the swap looks good so far.
Out we come. Of course, we're going to meet in the middle here in this last round of Royal Palace. You can see Amadi already trying to take one of those little off angles up there, but it's a tight one at best. And with these group walls in the way, it may be difficult for decent sightlines to be set up here. There it is. That was the Strangling Prison combination. If I'm not mistaken, Daze comes on in with a Kraken impact. You hinted at it last round. We were made to wait, but it was worth it. Beautifully done. That's 2 kills off the back of that. And Shikigami are on the road.
That's insane focus fire, though, from Shikigami. They're able to kill through a very early defensive Luna Snow ultimate. That wasn't a mistake from Fidel. He had the ultimate exactly the time it was needed. Shikigami just found the burst all through that threshold. I mean, pretty impressive, actually, even with the Kraken impact, mitigating some of that. That's just well played from Shikigami. I think a big test of these teams in Marvel Rivals is how much they're able to hit that focus fire and overcome those key thresholds on the strategist ultimate.
It's a great point. I mean, there is just so much healing that you've got to be on the same page. The shot calling's got to be extremely crisp in terms of the target that you're trying to focus down. Mardian is looking for a flank, probably to try and assassinate a backliner here pretty quickly now, but you got to connect these shots. Okay, Invisible Boundary going to come down now. Mardian has not been able to secure that kill, and it's going to be an ultimate here from Vision. Damage is coming down. It's unclear what Vision is able to get done. Mardian pops up in the air right next to Vision, will be knocked down to the ground and left with a knife between their shoulder blades. A little bit awkward, but Shikigami are happy to drag this out a little bit and to win the fight to boot. They're above 50% in this round.
Yeah, Madian, I think, brought a lot of chaos into that fight. Didn't get the instant picks he was looking for, but maybe forced some of those strategist ultimates to come out a little more quickly than the attackers would have liked. Now, Shroud-X on the retake. This could be the final fight of the round, and it's Shikigami who have the ultimate advantage. See who can work a pick. Maybe Fidel can charge up that Luna Snow ultimate and make the key difference here. But it'll be a lot more difficult for Shikigami to find the resets with no Strangling Prison.
I mean, this is Shroud-X's best window, Jake. There's no two ways about it. And that's even with Daze, of course, having a Kraken impact at the ready. How do they extract value from just this one ultimate? Impunity got a ball walk, so Daze holds on to that Kraken impact for a time. Goes a little bit low, it's getting a little bit messy. In the midst of things, Daze is eventually dragged off of his horse. Ricky trying to keep a respectful distance, but now Wedge has been driven in between these Shikigami players. They're desperately trying to regroup now without their Winter Soldier, and they're at 99% now. So anything more than this is a round win or a full regroup. And of course, that Fate of Both Worlds is active for them. They're going to use it to buy some time, get Amadian at least in a position to do some damage. Crazy Man goes low, but look at that. They managed to catch out both players behind that shield, and it's only the one to go down. Vision is removed by Amadian, but Doom comes in. Kraken impact goes crazy. And Shroud-X able to stay in the map.
Doom getting a lot done, clutching out that fight that was looking scary. Now chasing for this final pickup on the Winter Soldier. Would love to get one extra stagger kill. Seems like, though, Daze is going to be able to get out, going to get the reset. And Shroud-X, in the first round, they couldn't get it done from this position. Now they have a solid position, good ultimates, but it's a long road ahead to make the comeback and win map 1.
Meteor M, Strangling Prison, both at the ready. These two very powerful Vanguard ultimates could stop Shikigami in their tracks, even with an invisible boundary for Shikigami to make use of. They are the interlopers now in this situation. They can at least play from this high ground now as Crazy Bang and Scattergengi trying to cross to this low ground. Scattergengi biding his time, has to be noting, I'm sure, at the periphery of Shroud-X's set up those strategists. They're trying to catch Impunity out for the time being. Maybe burst the Groot down. That might be the plan. He gets a ball walk, though. So Scattergengi has to wait on this one. Tries to throw that in, but Doom's able to dash away with the shift. And Dongmin now has a meteor of his own. Throws it down. Big damage on Crazy Man, but that invisible boundary is going to top the group back up. And Dongmin found himself very overextended very quickly, Jake.
Yeah, Shikigami are going to be cleaning up on map 1 here. Vision pops the ultimate, but no way you're getting value with the full focus fire bearing down on you. And that was a tough one for Shroud-X. Like, 2 of their players that dropped first were the players with ultimates who needed to deploy them. That's the cost of giving up that high ground. They weren't able to forward hold the choke point. They lost that position. And then the retake was pretty easy from there on out from Shikigami. They were willing to play it patient and just work the picks, confident in their duelist to get that advantage from the high ground and deliver a map from it. It's going to be 1-0. Shikigami looking to repeat history on Shroud-X, but Shroud-X have showed that they have a real fight in them that I think we're going to see more out of this team throughout the series.
Absolutely. Look at Crazy Man's performance. 32k damage over the course of the game. We got a really energetic, lively start in this first series, which is exactly what you want to see for two teams that are vying for the chance to take on 100 Thieves and, of course, fight for that $1,000 prize money pocket. This is the kind of start we want. This is what gets my blood running.
That was that first game we wanted. Unfortunately for the S-Men, they run out of gas. Jake, is it going to be Bucky time? Because we saw the best out of Visions you're going to get. The man's popping off on Hela, but he got melted in that final round.
You know, I do think Bucky is going to be pretty strong in North America with these teams, you know, so focused on, like, if you're both going to play Hela, Bucky is maybe like just that next up duelist in terms of the ability to work picks and find opportunities. However, that being said, I think both these teams have shown a bit of strategic diversity. I think this is a really strong Hela map. There are other maps that, you know, maybe that triple strategist can work. Maybe teams will elect to ban the Hela to change things up. However, Amadi and Vision, I think both these players, after map 1, they're going to be hungry for a little bit more of that duel. I don't see either team backing down.
They're going to run it back. They got to run it back. I think that, like, this is also because the Namor is banned, right? So you do at least have the Winter Soldier to combo with the Strangling Prison, right? Something else that can drop on into their very powerful AoE ultimate from Groot here. But yeah, if we see like Hela looked at, that means like someone like Namor comes back in. So there's always going to be a very powerful duelist. And I feel like if Shroud-X were to ban the Hela, that feels like a concession to me, Puckett.
Impunity trying to go toe-to-toe with Crazy Man, but I feel like Crazy got the best in the opening round on that group. Keep your eyes on the Strangling Prison. They seem to be what wins you team fights in the current meta. Shout out to everyone tuning in. We've got 12,000 over on Shroud Stream, co-streams around Twitch as well as YouTube. And of course, we're live here on Rivals Fight Night Twitter. We got Jake and Uber. EU is already done, but NA is just beginning and only one map is in the book. So, Jake, what happens next on this show? How do we play out the best of 5? Who decided we're going to Hell's Heaven?
It's going to be loser map pick, and really the only restrictions on map pick is that we can't repeat maps throughout the series. So Shroud-X have total discretion here. They can take us to their very best map, and that's honestly what I think a lot of the teams are going to do. Just bring out your heaviest hitters, equalize the series 1-1. This does mean, though, for Shroud-X losing map 1, they're going to have to, at some point, overwhelm Shikigami and win a map of Shikigami's choice if they want to make the run back in this series. It's inevitable. It's also something that, realistically, you want to beat the top teams, Marvel Rivals. You can't be totally reliant on getting your maps. But this is an opportunity for respite. This is their chance. They take us to Hell's Heaven. Going to see what they have cooked up.
Shout out to the chat. I saw someone asking, is that Jake from ESPN and Uber from Disney XD? It is, guys. It's them. They're
you
here.
were on Disney XD as well, Puckett. I mean, you're not getting away with that one, bro. And so was Jake, just in a different capacity. I just want to point that out. It's not just me. So we all lived through that era, bro.
I love our chat. Guys never change. Just always troll us. Please continue on. We have 2 more matches to go here in NA. This one about to get underway. You can see Hell's Heaven is going to be loading up. Bans and Protects coming in next. Players to watch coming into another round of domination. I want to start with you, Uber, and also for the chat. Do you have a link to your shirts?
This is a Bershka one. I'm pretty sure you can get it from ASOS, or at least you could back in the day, but look, our wardrobe lady at the Overwatch League, I asked her to me up, and she did. So that's where that comes from. I've had it for like 8 years. Yeah. Anyway, let's jump in. We got Bans and Protects coming in for the second map. Let's change the subject from my ridiculous outfit.
Shikigami running it back with a Loki ban.
Sorry, this is a quick update from B-Dance. The team wasn't funded by chat. It was a goal to make a team if we hit 1 million for charity.
Okay.
Thank you, B-Nans. Appreciate you coming by and clarifying things. Now back to the bans. We've got Loki gone. We have Wolverine gone. Will we see Star-Lords and Adam Warlocks?
I mean, okay. Honestly, it's kind of wild that we really sort of didn't see more inclination towards the Star-Lord on that first map. I think that, again, it's just how deadly Hela is against any sort of flanker. I think Star-Lord comes in as soon as Hela gets looked at, because you notice that Adam Warlock was available. It changes the whole look of things. Looks like Impunity really wants to play more Groot.
I mean, right now, both teams are just running it back from map 1. And honestly, it was an incredibly close map. I don't blame either squad for just still having confidence, for not wanting to make any big changes. I mean, going to Hell's Heaven is going to be enough of a shift. And so far, it's been a complete run back. I think this is the biggest opportunity is for Shroud-X to maybe change their second ban, but I'm not convinced they really need to. Yeah, just target banning a comfort pick for Shikigami, one that they don't intend to use themselves. I think perfectly reasonable to make no major strategic adjustments. Honestly, I'd be worried for Shroud-X if they were, doing some kind of crazy 180 after what was an incredibly close map 1. You might argue, like, if round 1 they had just rolled out on that Hela comp, had had that same read, we could have seen a very different map 1. We could have seen Shroud-X take it. So going to Hell's Heaven, I just want to see them run it back on the Helamir.
Yeah, I need someone with a higher rank to tell me, is this rocket ban a troll, or are you really just trying to get rid of the Z-Pack, aka the infinite damage that you're going to get from Bucky burst in your face with?
I mean, sorry, but like not having to reload roster stern basically eliminates the only weakness that Bucky has, because the whole point is that you've got to like weave your abilities into not have to reload manually. That basically just takes the limiter off of him. I think it's very, very powerful. It's a pretty reasonable look at if you definitely think you're going to see plenty Winter Soldier.
I think Rocket also is just kind of good on this map. There's like a lot of spots to put the res beacon that are really hard to clean up if you don't run a flanker, and it can be super annoying, can lead to these crazy fights. The overwhelming poke pressure from the Cosmic Yard Amplifier, also a huge threat. I'm just curious though, from Shikigami, they looked amazing at following up, especially the Bucky ultimate. It's not just Bucky, of course, he's going to land, like any good Bucky is going to land the ult and get those procs on the enemy, but it takes a top team to have the focus fire. And I think in that last map, it was Shikigami that had a decisive advantage. Once again, though, Shroud-X, they're going back to the triple strategist, believing in it on this map. It's a little bit more enclosed, but I'm worried. Amadian could put in the work right now.
Again, we also have the team up here with Adam Warlock in play. So Doomed and Nuck, of course, especially, are going to be that much harder to remove from the game in general. Doom can play just with that extra level of aggression here. The Guardians of the Galaxy team up is a little powerful at the moment. Just like we saw in Europe. Shikigami, though, putting out some good damage. Look how low vision is right now. In fact, everybody taking a face full as they try and push up into Shikigami. Here comes Doomed over the top, though. Not quite enough to secure any eliminations, but definitely good heal pressure being put down by the Star-Lord here. Doomed, though, has to respect the oncoming damage, especially from this front line. As these walls come up, there'll be vines lashing. A good damage on Crazy Man. Desperately, Shikigami keep their Groot alive, and Amadian was bought enough time to take Impunity out of the game.
Picking up the Groot is a huge opportunity for Shikigami to get back in, start forcing the cap. Crazy Man follows it up with another one onto Dongmin, and now Amadian walls down, no vanguards to stop him. Cleaning house here on the point. It'll be a quick flip back, but Shroud-X have 20% in the bank. It's not nothing to write home about here. However, Shikigami looking at a full stack of pretty much going to have 6 ultimates for this next team fight. Now we're going to see Shroud-X. Do they have the execution to handle the triple strategist comp? I think this is a much more challenging comp from a team play perspective to execute. You know, these strategists need to be really on point when it comes to getting these incredibly long fights to actually go your way.
And you're asking for a lot of damage from the Lunar Snow as well. A lot of the time, she needs to use that Ice Arts, honestly, to go on the aggressive. Here we go. Shroud-X going to try and push their way out. It's going to be a Soul Resurgence to start this fight off. A Meteor Rem, though, threatens them from above. Shikigami about to deploy that one now. Dongmin also reciprocating. His, though, is a little better. Looks like Second Mouse gets the cheese is a real thing here. Daze falls, but Vision is out of the game. They should be able to come back with Cocoon Revival. Yep, they will be into the fight pretty quickly. So Shroud-X still working with a full cohort of 6 now. So Strangling Prison comes down, and Amadian had nowhere to go. Vision blows him up there with the standard attack, and this will be Shroud-X victorious. Should be able to break back in now, as it's just Shikigami to be shifted off the point, Ricky to be cleaned up, and we're good as gold.
Not only do they win the fight, get the flip back, but Shikigami held on tight there. They committed many of their critical ultimates to try to make that hold, and they failed. So Shroud-X are actually in a fantastic position in the round. And this is a map in particular for triple strategists where holding on to the point is incredibly strong with, you know, the ability for Star-Lord to play above choke points on off angles. Really awkward to walk in. Now Amadian, he doesn't have any of that space to work with. He's got to earn each inch as he comes back into the map, and he's going to have to be dueling Vision the whole time.
Yeah, it's also awkward, I think, when the point shifts to being higher than your spawn location.
Oh, what a
pull. Get a vantage point. Nice little combo there. Bionic Arm catching Impunity. No need for Daze there to make use of that ultimate, of course, but there was a wall that cut off the enemy Groot. This is a huge player advantage now, and just be glad that Groot also doesn't benefit from the team up with Adam Warlock. That would be ridiculous. Impunity, though, does get revived with that Karmic Revival. This is Shroud-X still at full force. Vision values the Groot enough to spend an ultimate on bringing just him back.
Yeah, the moving structure kept Vision moving while he was ulting, and so Amadian couldn't land the shots to cancel that out. Now, though, they're charging into the room with the help of the Star-Lord, taking the commitment to Shikigami. Ults being popped from both sides.
Yeah, finally seeing that Kraken impact here from Daze, and 2 players got caught by that debuff. Nuck goes low, and Impunity will fall. It's the duelist, the Shikigami, able to stand up and provide the damage where needed to break through the immense healing throughput of this triple strategist look.
Shroud-X gonna get up to 92% now. Flip comes in for Shikigami. They're gonna need to make 1 or 2 holds here. They have a couple valuable tools, especially Ricky with this invisible barrier. Timing and positioning on the ultimate are gonna be key. Really needs to be careful. If you pop this off point, there's always the threat of Shroud-X just taking the fight to the cap. Same time, you also have to worry about Crazy Man, the opportunity to open with that Strangling Prison. We've seen how good they are at focus firing it in rounds past.
One of this world as well, the Mardian can actually combo with that. It's the only other real sort of ultimate that might be able to link up with AoE capacity. Ricky kept busy. APM at an all-time high, trying to stave off this poke damage. And here comes the Prison, catches 3, and in there, like swimwear, is Impunity. Big damage being put down. Nuck gets there as well. Shikigami going to fall now, and Mardian doesn't have much to do from up on high. Fate of both worlds really staves off much of that hella damage, and now Shroud-X are getting back in control here. Nuck, of course, coming back off that cocooned revival, and Crazy Man tries to shut himself in. I get it. But Shroud-X, excuse me, able to flip back now, and Shikigami have to portal in to even contest.
Still, there's a couple spawners not yet available. A little bit of off sync there. Luna Snow coming back to the fight. This barrier, though, from the Invisible Woman is securing the recontest. Shikigami, they're going to have a chance, and they have this Kraken impact now.
No way!
Resets.
Okay, Galactic Legend has to be massive here, but they've got to get past the shield of Shikigami after switching to this tank, of course, is going to be crucial. Doomed is going to have to revive, excuse me. He's going to be out of the fight for a while. Karmic Revival going to be used to bring Doming back into the action, but Crazy Man gets rid of him straight away, and Impunity is surrounded. Doomed is low, has to come in off the top rope here, but doesn't have any healing to work with. His Fidel and Nuck just don't have the line of sight. Agamotto comes over. Shikigami built that awfully quickly, and now he starts whipping it good, folks. Nuck falls, and Shikigami, just when it looked like they dropped this round, come back in with a sick portal. Shikigami builds up an ultimate in like 5 seconds, man.
That's so huge that Shikigami in the previous fight were able to get the flip with only 92% for Shroud-X, right? If Shroud-X had 95, 96%, maybe that retake doesn't come through. They were able to burst Ricky down as well in the Strangling Prison before he could get that invisible barrier off. So this is an impressive fight. I mean, I'm kind of curious. I actually feel, did Shikigami, did they intentionally not commit that invisible barrier, knowing that they could get the TP back in and that strategist ult would give them the decisive advantage to win the round? If so, they are playing with a really small margin right here. But that's the mark of some of the strongest teams, though, in the hero shooter genre. They're willing to take risks. They're willing to push things down to the second, maybe the millisecond in finding that little advantage.
I didn't know if they all were aware of that, because Nyx was halfway back to the point the old-fashioned way, Jake, and you saw them have to turn around at hot-footed.
Maybe I'm giving him a little too much credit. It was just good focus fire from Shroud-X, unexpected burst through on that strategist. Now, though, once again, advantage for Shikigami going into round 2.
Yeah, again, I think just having that fate of both worlds for a first fight that they can play more aggressively and just try to walk up on the back line. But Strangling Prison has the potential to stop them in their tracks, and Shroud-X have got both of these strategist ultimates ready to leverage. This is a pretty scary prospect here if you're Shikigami, and they've got to be tracking some of those now, which can be hard to do, of course, in this game. And there are days. I'm sorry. Okay, down to the Dawn Lash wall, presumably. Impunity trying to push up here. The Soul Bond means, again, you can go absolutely ham with that fate of both worlds in play. Ricky gets picked off. They got split off to the right side, Jake, and Shikigami with a bit of a maladroit start to this second round.
Just what you needed, though, for Shroud-X right now. This is another map where particularly close quarters, particularly difficult for these duelists to work their picks. I mean, we've seen Daze and Amedian find their magic before, but this is an especially difficult spot for it. I think this is a map where I think the triple strategist is just a stronger look. So Shroud-X maybe having the confidence that in the fullness of this entire map that they're going to have the edge strategically. Shikigami, let's see if they can work some kind of a pick, but this walk-up is a very difficult thing.
Absolutely, and there's just so much that could snarl them up here. Of course, once they get onto the point, they'd be subject to Galactic Legend. Could be scary. Yeah, Diggs gets caught out here. Look how low Scatter Gengi is, and there's just not much you can do. You are walking straight into the ocean here with how Shroud-X are set up. Happy to play off the point inside a choke and cut you to the quick. This is going to be another 10 to 15 to 20% for Shroud-X.
It's a really nice fight from them. They play with the advantage positionally, and they don't dump ultimates, putting them in a great position to snowball and continue to get ahead in the round. This next fight, though, likely going to be a long one, an explosive one with a lot of ultimates ready to be deployed. That being said, I'm curious to see if Shroud-X look to still start it off on the right foot, look for those aggressive openings and force Shikigami into an awkward initiation. Seems that this time they're content to play slow, but the point rotates away. Shikigami, where are you going, bro?
That is absolutely brutal. So, suffice to say, a change of tack required here for Shikigami as the map does morph. Amardian's trying to go for an off angle here, but you just don't have the burst damage to get through an invisible boundary. So Amardian is hoping they step back of it. Great work from Shikigami. They pushed Shroud-X out of that invisible woman ultimate. Now they can lay some damage down. Kraken Impact just came online for days, but Scatter Gengi's already found 2. They are going to commit a meteor into this fight, and the Galactic Legends coming over the top by Dooms. Can this bail Shroud-X out? As Shikigami have the edge. Vision back into the fight from that Cocoon revival, though, but Impunity had already fallen now. Daze checking that high ground, but no, he's happy enough just to go to work on Dongmin, take him out of the fight. Here comes a Karmic revival here from Vision, able to bring 2 back into the fight, but it's unlikely that's going to do more than stall this point out a little bit more. Allow Shroud-X to get to 99.
Daze has been so great with these pulls on the Winter Soldier, making a difference once again. Shikigami are going to get the flip. Now the shoe is on the other foot. Let's see if they can make that run back. They are going to get a couple key stagger kills, and maybe are going to look for more. So,
well, that's fine. Quick reset, as they say. Just end it real quick.
He was so close to his own spawn, he thought, why not?
Okay. Shikigami here, now in control. They also were going to push off the point and try and force Shroud-X to fight them amongst these chokes. Both of the Strangling Prisons are pretty even in terms of their ult charge, but Trace-Mang has to be careful, takes a face full of damage and has to back away. He'll likely have his Groot ultimate available slightly earlier. Impunity gets chunked down quick, and very timely Soul Bond comes down there for Vision, but Impunity still has to hide out of line of sight.
Big value now. Shikigami, though, with the ultimate advantage. Shroud-X, they don't have anything to open with, so I think they're looking to get a bit of an extended poking phase here, charge up some of those ultimates. Dongmin, he's been a difference maker in rounds past, see if he can find something as Daze, though, looking in on the flank, trying to get those early picks. There it is. Triple, maybe more.
There is something so satisfying, Jake, about seeing that little impact indicator above your enemy's heads. And that's the combo, right? That was the Strangling Prison plus Kraken Impact look that basically guarantees you the win in situations like that. And Shikigami are up to 62.
That's so powerful. They're able to win it off with that combo. Now it's a big fight for Shroud-X, so they've got everything they should need to make this comeback. That being said, there's always the risk that somebody like a Maddie or Days finds a hero pick, finds something that they shouldn't. Shroud-X can't give any kind of openings here on the walk if they have big ultimates, but how are they going to open this fight up first?
Dongmin has the launch codes, the red button on his desk, Meteor M up his sleeve, ready to deploy, but it's going to be Galactic Legend over the top first for Doomed. The answer, of course, will be a Fated Boat Quartz for Dink, so plenty of healing now from that Lunar Snow over this fight. Namadi and Taste of the Skies. One more shot on Doomed would have been enough, but he's just too slippery, and he dives into the healing of his own Lunar Snow. Now, Fidel going to hold on to that ultimate, but it'll be another Meteor M that comes out. Ricky gets caught by it. Donmin finds connection, and that is with that invisible boundary in play. Donmin swinging with the sword. Fidel able to get that Ice Arts involved to take the Groot down, and that's what Shroud-X needed. That's what's going to keep them alive in this map. In the dying seconds of our second round, Shroud-X looked to close it out, and no portal's going to save Shikigami this time.
Yeah, that's a massive Meteor M connection from Dongmin, right? Shuts down the opposing invisible woman, denies a lot of that sustain, allows you to win the team fight critically while holding on to that Luna Snow ultimate for Shroud-X going into the next round. So they're going to have that key source of stability, especially with Crazy Man, with that Strangling Prison online. You really need a strategist ultimate to be able to survive through that, especially with how good Shikigami are at the follow-up.
30 seconds before you attack.
Better looks here from Shroud-X, though, and a huge part of that round is owing to them starting in control. But I've got to suggest the fact that they walked in with 3 or 4 big ultimates off the rip and then were able to just increase their lead by forcing Shikigami to push them in the choke was a big component of that. It's very favorable that they're able to have a Lunar Snow ultimate up their sleeve, one they didn't have to use in the last fight of that previous round, which takes some judiciousness, I think, not to just throw out there to secure it, given that it was 99 to 99. So they can have that to lean on here, Jake.
Scattergang, yeah, I wonder if he's going to go for an opening TP. Seems like it will be a move to the high ground. This map we've seen is very difficult to walk out of the choke, so I like this idea of taking high ground very early. And he's going to be on the Doctor Strange, though, so without the Magneto, maybe a little bit less of that long-range poke. However, you think the rest of their comp makes up for it well.
And again, if they can just occupy this high ground and use the shield to make it punishing, but create a virtual choke that Shroud-X have to challenge, that's pretty big. However, Shikigami are unseated from this high ground. They're forced to play now down towards this low ground, and Doom can sort of flip over the top of them. Good pressure here being put down on Crazy Man and Co. Very, very low, and because Doom just soul bonded, he can play that a little bit more aggressive. Looking to come forward now. Galactic Legend is ready. Fidel also with that Lunar Snow ultimate. A lot of healing, and this should be enough in theory to drag down that Doctor Strange. Bam! Big damage on Amadi, and they just could not hide away quickly enough, and this is a devastating run from our Star-Lord. Doom tears strips off of them, and Shikigami get bundled back to spawn.
And Shikigami feeling the hurt of that last round, having to use every ultimate. They only have that Groot ult to start the fight out. It's not enough to find kills. Doom over the top. I mean, that Galactic Legend, when you don't have a Meteor M to counter it, you are in real trouble. Doom shows exactly why. Shikigami, now this is the hard part, right? Making it out of the choke points. Doomed. He's got that constant buff up from the Luna Snow. He's going to be getting all these shields from the Magneto. Tons of resources being poured into the Star-Lord. Doomed needs to deliver.
We saw that earlier. Dongmin throwing a lot of those bulwarks on that Star-Lord. Let him play a bit more aggressive. We're seeing it right now as the Blaster Barrage came in over the top. Days, though, hoping to make something happen with his Kraken Impact. It will be unassisted by a Strangling Prison, though, and you've got to be a little bit... Well, you've got to exercise a bit more judgment about how best to use that ultimate. Scattergang looks like he might be out of position here, but of course with an Eye of Agamotto, we can turn the fight in a matter of seconds. He's full charged and he's going to go for it. Here comes the Eye. Catches onto only Dongmin here. Good damage to the follow-up. Of course, the Maelstrom was fully charged, but it was only one player caught by that. And naturally, there's enough healing for this triple strategist composition for Shroud-X to hold them off. Daze just has to be careful. One step too far, and he's going to get caught by this Groot damage. Crazy Man also falling, and Shikigami might be starting to struggle, Jake, with this triple healer look.
They definitely are. Shroud-X played that fantastically well. Great recognition that Amadian was trying to work the flank, trying to get greedy with the Hela positioning. They immediately turned back from the choke point, force her down, and even with the Kraken Impact, it's just not enough because you don't have the Hela, you don't have the follow-up to get those executions. Now, this should just be textbook for Shroud-X. Shikigami on some desperation picks, trying to work some chaos, but Shroud-X have everything they need to win this last fight.
Meter him here for Dongmin. More of an insurance policy than anything else, just in case the Lambo gets scratched. Shroud-X comfortable. Here they come. Impunity catching Amadian out of the strangling prison. Vision does fall, but the damage surely already done as Doomed is now able to run roughshod over the back of Shikigami. Cheeky freeze there. Credit to Dinks to try and keep the dream alive. There's not a whole lot they can do with Shroud-X with a shut out to claim Hell's Heaven.
Really well played on the team synergy from Shroud-X. When they play that comp, that's the difference they need to have, right? When it gets to an open air extended duel, right? The Hela, the Winter Soldier, they're probably going to have the edge, even as good as Adam Warlock can be. However, when you fight as that death ball, you pump resources into Star-Lord, he can really produce for you. So Shroud-X doubling down, going back to the composition that worked for them previously, and looking impressive now, coming into a 1-1 series. Very curious to see where Shikigami are going to take us next.
Absolutely, because you're probably looking towards a map where it's a little bit harder to I guess abuse the triple strategist comp. That's a map that when maybe you have some high ground or like better perches for Hela, but try as they might, Shroud-X are first banning this Wolverine, the one duelist that I think can really defeat this triple strategist, because their proximity is so crucial for these like heavy healing based comps, and you can deny that, right? You can carve someone out of formation and blow them up. So Shikigami have to beat this triple healer setup bucket without Wolverine. They're not going to get it this series.
That was fun to watch. Well done, Shroud-X, tying things up at 1 apiece. And Jake, towards the end, they looked like they were in total control, choking them out with the triple support. I was most curious though about the walk-ups. If they're running triple support, are they supposed to walk onto point freely? And if so, what am I supposed to do on the defensive end, knowing I have the advantage with the damage output?
I mean, a lot of it comes down to the duelists, their ability to work picks in, with, you have Hela, you have Winter Soldier. Both of them are going to be looking on the off angles, trying to find opportunities. When it comes to that matchup, I think it's a lot about your confidence in your duelists. Like if your duelists find those back-to-back headshots, you just get a kill out of nowhere. That's not really something that the triple strategist comp looks to do. Theoretically, Adam Warlock can, but it's going to be pretty rare, much more common for Hela and Winter Soldier to provide those opportunities. That being said, if you can just hold off with the triple strategist, if you just mark those flankers, don't die to them, you get to the point where it's time to fight as a unit, it's time to fight on the objective, that's where you have the clear edge. And just as Shikigami are gonna have to answer this without a Wolverine based on Shroud-X consistently banning it out, you can always just throw a ban at the Adam Warlock. Shikigami are ultimately making the choice that they'd rather face this triple strategist look than something like a Loki. So I'm curious to see, do Shikigami elect to change that strategy now that they've lost a map? The triple support looked pretty solid. You could take us to a map where it's less effective, or you could just change up the bans. I think both are very viable options as we move into the map 3.
If you're just joining us, this is a rematch from the MRI. Now we get to see it for an opportunity to play 100 Thieves. This is our NA Challenger matchup. Uber, great stuff so far. Let's take a look back at some of the big moves that Hela's putting on some highlights, but they weren't the only ones. As the game went on, the Vanguards became more and more important.
I honestly think that Dongmin as like a Magneto player is really having an outsized impact on this game, and really is someone I want to watch. He's getting a lot of value out of each of these Meteor M's, which are really important against like any healer comp, especially if you're dealing with like a Lunarsnow ultimate, or you need to get burst damage, right? I really think that the game is ruled by teams that either have like the oppressive healing throughput, the invulnerability frames like Loki can provide, or of course that burst damage. And I'm really impressed with what I've seen from him so far, just like a standout player. And crucially, Jake was pointing this out, constantly furnishing Doomed with plenty of these bulwarks to make sure that an adequate amount of resources are being pumped into that Star-Lord to let him take over the game. He's getting Cocoon Revival from the team up, right? Which is ridiculous. He's getting a lot of those bulwarks. He's getting a ton of healing basically being thrown into him. Soul Bonds when required. That's exactly what you need to do, because Star-Lord can be Feast of Famine. You really only get out of that pick what you put into him. And so far, Shroud-X are making generational investments in getting that Star-Lord off the ground.
Doom, the only player in the lobby to break 30,000 damage. Ridiculous performance from the sky. Here's a small example of the impact once you get legendary. Jake, moving forward, do we start targeting that Atom? And is that enough to get rid of a Starhorn from Doomed in the future?
Yeah, I think, we've seen different teams take different approaches, Bucket, on that front. Some teams have just said, you know what, if I just ban the Adam Warlock team up, I'm not that worried about the Star-Lord as an individual, without those Adam Warlock links, without the Resurrect. Maybe it's just not going to be that consistent. Other teams, though, have just said, you know what, we're going to get rid of the Star-Lord. It is, I think, one of the strongest team-ups in Marvel Rivals right now, so a lot of teams surely have thought about it and considered, if we do need to ban that team up, what are we going to do? That being said, Shikigami, they know all this. Like, they're a strong team. They've intentionally let through the triple strategist. They felt like they could beat it in map 1. They were right. Map 2 went against them here. Now going to Shin-Shibuya. Good map for Star-Lord.
Shin-Shibuya is going to be a fun one. We haven't seen Venoms yet. Maybe those will be brought out. We saw it in the previous series. Is there something in particular you want to see on this map, Uber, and do you expect more Hela play for Visions?
I mean, it's definitely possible. I don't know if like Hela really gets looked at here, but you can probably expect to see a shift more over towards like Doctor Strange and Venom in terms of those tank lines, just because you need a portal on the attack side. You have to Strange portal in behind. I just don't think it's reasonable to try and walk up on the choke in this map. You're too unfavored there. And the Venom is really important because you can traverse this high and low ground and catch people out. Remember, denying proximity from these healers is the name of the game. It's what you want to do. Venom can do it, not as well as Wolverine, but can still have an impact and force people to move with that cellular corrosion.
All right, we're going to do the same exact bans and protects every single game. This is going to be the group protect. Then we're going to get rid of the rocket. Luna's going to get protected, and then the Namor is going to get banned. Pretty exciting stuff. So here's the real question, Jake. Are we seeing the triple strategist out of the gate? Is it something later in the game? Venom's in the building.
Venom, protect.
I'm going to shut up. You guys take it away.
Yo, I'm going to call this map Shin-Shibuya, baby. Finally, it gets a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? Good. I love me some Venom. I think, honestly, there's a lot of skill expression in that hero, despite him not having like huge burst damage output, and the Animal Lock is banned. Now Star-Lord is going to stay dead when you shoot him in the head. That's what we'd like to see.
Yeah, I think these are great bans from Shikigami. I think I'm curious to see how they integrate the Venom into the style. You know, some teams have chosen to run an aggressive flanking duelist alongside the Venom to benefit from his ability to get on top of backlines and pick off strategists. However, other teams, you know, play it more of a poke-based style and use the Venom as a distraction. That would certainly fit with the duelist picks from Shikigami in the last couple maps. I think, you know, the sky's the limit right now. With the new ban look, I think both of these teams have the opportunity to show their strategic depth.
Jake, I just saw a question. With Venom, is Psylocke the ideal duelist to pair with them?
I think it's a great option. It's interesting, we don't see so much Psylocke anymore in like top level Marvel Rivals. However, I do think there is a lot of skill expression on the character. Maddie and locking it in for now. I think there's always an opportunity. It's a different way to approach the game than, you know, a lot of teams have focused mostly on the front to back poking style, on like key burst combos. And it is going to be Namor, Luna, Snow coming through. So thinking of that like dive for Crazy Man, he's going to be up against one of the better anti-dive setups you can run in the game right now. I think, especially with Doomed over on the Winter Soldier as well, there's a lot of disruption for these flankers and divers for Shikigami. They're going to have their work cut out for them.
I think that like walking into the choke as well against this Namor setup is scary. A strange portal to get position and kind of defeat the high ground advantage that like you inherently get as defenders that the Namor can bloody abuse. Seems like where you kind of want to be, but you notice Crazy Man on the other side of that building there? Yeah, he's just popped above the roof. So looking for a way to get in. In comes the dive. Namor does not like being jumped upon. He tries to cocoon himself now and has to give that high ground up. He will drop and try and maybe assume some form of position, but he will never be free just to free fire from this position while Crazy Man is on the map. He will constantly be putting pressure on him. A bit of an inauspicious start here, I think, for the magic pick, but we do see the sidelock for Amadi in here. So Shikigami are playing that full dive setup as well. You know, when they have Mantis and they're not trying to abuse the, you know, Guardians team up, that they are looking for a full dive setup.
Had Shroud-X, their strategist right now, Fidel and Nook doing a fantastic job of just being evasive. Like, you're not seeing them on the Venom screen, which means they're doing exactly what they need to do. Just make space, make time. Shikigami, they don't have time on their side with this offense. They need to find explosive moves. They need to create picks. If Shroud-X, if you're just 6-on-6 for an extended engagement, this Shroud-X comp is going to win 99 times out of 100, and it's an extremely favorable damage trade. Shikigami, they need to find instant burst kills. If they're not finding that, the fights are going to be difficult.
And it's tough to get them. I mean, Namor has an ability that purposely defeats that. You know, you can't get burst kills on him. It's the whole point. And of course, remember, he's benefiting from the team up with Luna Snow. So there's Monstro spawn. You get an extra one and it slows you down, which is amazing against this kind of dive comp. Here comes Crazy Man, but doesn't have the damage on his own actually to work his way through the backline. But Doomed has been taken down and Scatter Genki gets involved. Amadi was able to wrap around here on this Psylocke now and is checking, I think, for an invisible woman after double jumping, but Nook is out of there. Shikigami's dive finally pays off. They play the riskier comp, Jake, and they get the burst they were looking for.
Doom's going for the touch with the Strange Portal. They still have Strategist Ultimate. Shroud-X are not giving up on this yet. Immediate Strategist ult into the fight. They're going to gamble on first point.
Okay, vision as well here. Low. We're going to drop out into the... Oh, buddy! Oh, that was so nice from Daze. Vision was going to use the Horde of Proteus the second he got out of that watery cocoon, but is taken down by a crack shot from Rosterstern. Okay, here comes a cracking impact here for Daze. Going to try and juke with that portal by the looks of things and jumps in. There's that Horde of Proteus. No good. Vision not able to find connect here, but Shikigami are running out of gas. The portal play for Shroud-X, despite losing their name more instantly, might hurt them. Shikigami desperately being topped up now, but Shroud-X are looking towards their backline, and they are shoring it up. Dance of the Butterfly going to be committed to the fight now by Amadian, but there's not quite enough damage here. Still can't quite cut through the healing of Shroud-X. Doom frozen up briefly. They've finally gotten rid of the Doctor Strange. That's a big opening. Dace now, the only shield on the map, and Impunity a little low. Needs to keep an eye out here, I think, for Crazy Man, who's going to continue to move, but a Soul Resurgence for Shikigami means they have the durability now to throw caution to the wind. An invisible barrier has been thrown up here by Nakno, and Ricky gets taken down. That's the Lunar Snow out of the mix. It's only a Mantis left for Shikigami to work with. Of course, there's an Abyssal Feast here for Crazy Man, but they probably need to regroup. That's a heartbreaker, Jake. 2 ticks and change, 95%, but no cigar for the attackers.
It's a beautiful retake from Doomed. Great awareness to go over to the Doctor Strange. That was his role in that moment. So it's something that these top Marvel Rivals players always have to be mindful of, the opportunity to come back in. And Shikigami, they won that fight because they had done so little damage in the previous fights that they just got like much faster support ultimate tempo. Great freeze. Canceled that Doctor Strange ultimate from Doomed. Now, though, Shikigami have another chance with some good ultimates. Vision already low, has to force that bubble and back off the high ground.
Gets into safety, though, blessing the deep. So allows him to at least have safe passage to the low ground. Yeah, Impunity, they're rotated maybe towards the right, a little bit dangerous, but there's the combo. Vision drops the whale on them. Horde of Proteus guarantees 2 important KOs, and Dongmin cleans off the last remaining strategist on the side of Shikigami. The dull edge of Shikigami finally broken here as Shroud-X able to withstand them. Sad not to see the full dive work out, but that's Rivals for you.
That's a challenge. I mean, we've seen teams succeed with full dive in the past, but honestly, I don't often see it work against the Luna Snow Namor. I think that combo is so good at dealing with divers. You know, if you're Psylocke, as good as you are at finding burst kills, if you're constantly just clearing up the monstro spawns from Namor, it is painful, it is annoying, it is difficult. Same for Venom. You want to be single targeting down real players, not just turrets. And you don't really get that opportunity the way Shroud-X are playing. So fantastic job, not only in the oppressive defensive setup, but also that critical retake. Nuck, I want to give credit to the Invisible Woman there. Built up an incredibly fast invisible barrier to make that hold possible. He was charging it up, popped it instantly at 100%. That's what saved the fight for Shroud-X, what allowed them to make the full hold.
And also, I think like just great application of force physics, right? The knockback there was really important when you're dealing with a dive comp. It's not fun to play Venom, I think, in that scenario where you have the slowing monstro spawn, able just to sort of, make it harder for you, the threat of being frozen by the lunar snow. And then, of course, just in general being knocked around by the Invisible Woman. Tough for Shikigami. They take a gamble. It doesn't pay off. Remember, this is their map selection. They really felt, Jake, that the dive comp would get them a lot of mileage here. Now we're going to see sides flip, and it looks as if Shikigami still want to play this Psylocke, this dive style on defense. Again, I guess they've got access inherently to good high ground. That's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, they might feel a little bit better about the dive. However, I think they're giving up one of the biggest advantages of defense, which is the ability to aggressively spam attackers as they walk up. Shroud-X isn't going to have as much to worry about. They are going to have to deal with the potential threat of being picked off, but Psylocke already shows herself looking to just hit tanks and limits what this front line can do. I think Shroud-X, though, are going to get the move they look for.
Amadi into the back line. Okay, trying to combo here, of course, with the dive in of that Venom. Crazy May has to extract himself there, and they do. They're healthy enough. They're going to be climbing amongst the masonry. Daze, of course, he can drop down and boost himself back up, so pretty easy to get reset up. And I think that's a right click that doesn't quite connect here, so the monster spawn don't make short work of their intended target. And Crazy Man gets picked off here. Shikigami, this could be a pretty quick map if this defense doesn't hold, and they've already lost 2. This is bad news bears for the defenders. Doom seems completely unperturbed, moisturized, flourishing, unbothered, staying in his lane, which is right up the nostrils of the defenders, apparently. And now it will be a desperate portal for Crazy Man to come on in. Only 2 other players to join them now. Scattergang is still a couple of seconds off the respawn, but Shikigami can wait this out. Oh, note the monster spawn already set up, and beautiful force physics there. Daze taken down. And that's the map, folks. Shin-Shibuya goes the way of the S-Men.
Nuck was so ready on Shroud-X. That portal came up, and Daze just got instantly smoked through the portal. You can shoot through it. We can do it too. Shroud-X up 2-1 in the series, and I said they had to do it at some point, win on Shikigami's map pick. They did more of that. They just styled on them on Shin-Shibuya. I mean, this is a dominant victory for Shroud-X, one that sets the record straight from the last time Shikigami won 3-1 in that Marvel Rivals tournament.
All right, Nuck, your paycheck's in the mail, mate. There's some great marketing, of course, for our friends over at Netty with the selection of that highlight intro. But I mean, have a look here. A pretty, I think, definitive seeing Vision, with over 10k damage done for what was a pretty short map. And we kind of talked about it, right? I don't think you get any more, and I'm using air quotes here, full dive than that composition that we saw from Shikigami. They were all in. This comp is all about following the Venom in and making sure you eliminate that first target. They couldn't even get rid of the Namor. And I think from there on out, it was, it got pretty disastrous. This guy, man, he floats around the map and hits like a Mack truck. Tough to shut him down.
Yeah, Vision has been a fantastic performer. Shroud-X, they jumped back through the portal. I didn't even realize that. Had to get reset of the fight. This is a huge freeze, though. I mean, Shikigami are fighting back. They're fighting well, but honestly, for the full dive, I think it only works if you're able to engineer the right pick band setup. I think if you're trying to full dive into Namor, Luna Snow, Invisible Woman, even the Groot, like the lockdown from the Strangling Prison, when you don't have as much durability on that heavy dive comp, Strangling Prison can get killed without any kind of combo, even through Strategist Ultimate. So really well played for Shroud-X, well selected strategically, and Shikigami gonna have to go back to the drawing board and show us something very different to come back in the series.
Jake, in that final round, they were running just a Luna and a Mantis. Is Mantis truly on that level of healer for a strategist role? Like, I questioned it as soon as I saw him in the spawn room, and nothing changed. They just kept bringing it for 4 minutes.
I think people bring the Mantis out when they want a little bit more damage and playmaking, thinking they're going to get away with that because they're going to be bringing the aggression to the other side. And I don't hate it conceptually. Like, if you're going to play dive, I don't hate the inclusion of a Mantis. I just think foundationally, the idea that you are going to win on attack defense with a dive comp into basically the full anti-dive setup. I mean, I felt like Shroud-X really just read that. They almost knew what Shikigami was going to bring. They had clearly had a plan for it. That they didn't run the hell out, right? They instead go for the both of the duelists that are notoriously strong at disrupting divers. The Namor with the turrets and the Bucky with the ability to pull people in and slow them down, execute them when they make mistakes. So I think just really well played from Shroud-X. They look strategically much more sound on that map.
And just to tack onto that as well, the Mantis also, you sacrifice healing throughput, Pucker, for the ability to keep people healed when they're out of your line of sight. When you're playing with divers, you can't always see them. If you're playing like a Invisible Woman, it can be kind of difficult to heal a Venom across the map or a Psylocke. So being able to set and forget that heal and focus on, what's in front of you is what is important there. But it might just not be enough throughput to give those divers enough durability when they go in.
Yeah, just play Invisible Woman so we don't lose our rank game. Thanks, guys. We got to go to a break because our producer really needs to use the restroom. It's the first one all show. So do us a favor, take a moment, head on over to Rivals Fight Night. Hit that follow button, hit the subscribe on our YouTube and Twitter as well. This is just the challenger match from NA. We got more of your favorite Rivals players when we come back. Welcome back to Rivals Fight Night. We've got a great matchup going down. Shroud-X taking the lead after a big win in game number 3. But now, we turn the corner. Shikigami, your map choice.
Unless it's a
Welcome
circle,
in
which case we never turn the corner,
right?
Just going around and around.
Maybe we'll just keep turning left, NASCAR style. We got Jake here. Uber, this has been a pretty fun matchup. I thought Shroud-X was in trouble after map 1. Now they're in the driver's seat. They are 1 map away from making it into our finals against 100 Thieves. And this would be a revenge opportunity for them, right? We got to remind folks what happened in the losers bracket just a week ago.
Yeah, revenge, but also just them showing that they've really come alive, I think, in this metagame and have really understood what is important. They've also got the right players, I think, to succeed. We were talking about a little bit in the break. I think on the strategist side, Nuck's been incredible at helping deny this sort of full dive look. I think Vision being able to switch to the Namor and also kind of be goated in that role is really important. And Dongmin's been amazing over the course of the series. This team's really impressing me. There's a whole different discussion about what they can do against 100 Thieves, but right now, I think they've got the right comp. I think their style is the one that's kind of being lifted by the game in terms of the team ups that are most powerful here, and I think they're going to go all the way in this series.
If we can, production, we would love to update everybody who missed the first half of the show. Here on Rivals Fight Night, not only do we highlight the greatest players on the planet, Jake, but also some of the greatest skins and in-game items brought to us by our friends at NetEase. Marvel Rivals has invested in our happiness.
Look at this. My God, it's orange. Damn, bro. Well, it's a bit weird with this music. The juxtaposition of this music and the Venom twerk. It's a little odd. I would have liked the Ricardo Flick music, honestly.
You don't twerk the flutes? This is my jam, baby. Give me a recorder and watch me shake.
I feel like you have to twerk really fast to flutes, no?
Yeah, shout out to Venom. Shout out to everyone behind the scenes who decided we needed an orange Venom twerking in the middle of our broadcast. Thank you also to our production assistants who are currently putting ZP's face on Venom for the next time we see it live. In the meantime, we got to take a look at our matchup because it's a best of 5. We're going into a game 4. It's Symbiotic Surface, and we learned from OG Esports. Don't run at Jeff thinking you can spit people off the map. There's walls all over this sucker, Jake. What are we expecting? I bet we'll probably see the same exact ban and protects 4 more times.
Well, I mean, it was a change up from last map. I wonder if Shikigami want to run it back or the dive, or if they're going to stick with their bread and butter, play what was made the first 2 maps so incredibly competitive, you know, taking the mirror on the Groot. They look good at it. I don't think it was easy. And they're going to
Visions is not playing no more.
Rocket. They have to protect the rocket to get it through. That's crazy. I mean, is this going to be... I wonder if you ever run both the Punisher and the Winter Soldier to get like the double team up value.
I think that like seeing the rocket protect, I think Shroud-X probably like could have aimed a band like a Winter Soldier or Punisher here, because I think you might want both. Obviously, this map, Aegis of Path, like you have a good setup for like Punisher turret. I feel like it's a little telegraphed and maybe breakable pocket. So I'm not sorry.
Feels like a gold strat to me, Mitch.
So, yeah, even more so. This is the kind of map where you can play that, but with these chokes, I do think that Winter Soldier getting unlimited ammo is pretty crazy.
I'm a little skeptical of the Rocket Raccoon. I'm just a little, I'm not sure about it. Maybe Shikigami can make me a believer. If they can get the win here on Symbiotic Surface, maybe I'll have to eat my words. I'm worried though that just like Hela straight up, no team ups, just do your thing on Hela is like more powerful, more threatening than even Rocket with a team up. But maybe I'm wrong. Hold up. Both teams gonna run the Rocket. Okay, maybe this team up is broken.
Huh. I mean, again, look, I think Rocket can give you a lot. I do think that, you know, you are using a strategist who's you're using a strategist whose ultimate is obviously not geared towards healing, right? It just gives you a damage boost. It feels less powerful perhaps, but again, we know what else he can offer you. The ability, of course, to 3D print when your teammates get back in the game can be helpful. Let's see just how powerful this Rocket look is.
Rocket does also, like, not from the ultimate, but just in general, pumps crazy heals with just like the regular heals being AoE. So, you know, it's not an ultimate, but your consistent healing throughput is incredibly high on stacked up allies. Shikigami, see what they're able to work here on the side. Both teams having the same look here on the meta, both believing in, you know, the duelist and strategist one-to-one team ups, and of course that Vanguard front line.
Okay, Amani in there, frozen up briefly. Shroud-X just giving the point up as a with the exception of their Vanguards, of course, and we'll stay there and try and hold it down. Here it is, the Z-Pack going to be popped now. As, excuse me, both of our Winter Soldiers can just go for broke with Roster Stern here. They'll mix some abilities in if they have to, but generally, like, the damage output you can amass here is pretty darn impressive. Tainted Voltage also thrown out, and then too much damage for Days to deal with. Shikigami lose a crucial player.
Group goes to the skybox with the Hatemaker uppercut from Dune. Don't know what happened just there, but Shikigami down 1, backing a little, but not fully giving up the position. Median getting flanked now, maybe in a little bit of trouble. Vision, though, doesn't want to take a risk on this defense.
Martin has not been shifted so far, in fairness. That's a problem. This damage coming in now. Gift of the Seas has to be used just to heal yourself up. And here comes Shikigami now. Really want to try and push you behind his Lunar Snow ultimate. Note, though, that is still a safe position for Vision. He's sat pretty in the background now. As Crazy Man is going to have to make use of a Strengthening Prison soon, but a Meteor M is a little bit more of an issue. And Amadian gets blown up. The Monstro spawn helps with the burst damage of the Magneto. And it's going to have to be a 3D printed BRB return to the fight for that and more. But Crazy Man is down, and that hurts even worse.
Yeah, and Rocket has to heal overtime right now. 2 players down. Shroud-X sweeping forward on the map. They want to get these stagger kills. They want to clean up everybody. They are going to find Days on the way out. That's an important pickoff now. Comes very late into the fight, and Shikigami, clock's starting to run low here. Now 2 minutes left.
Okay. Meteor M for Scattergengi, pretty important. It's the only thing that can really cut through this Lunar Snow healing that Fidel is going to be sat on here for Shroud-X. Up to the top right again. Vision might be a little bit caught out here. This is perhaps a little too aggressive a spot to be. He's able, of course, to use that shift ability and get back to safety. Doomed also trying to play from the high ground. Jake Scattergang surely wants to line up a big Meteor M here, and he's charging it.
See if he can find the elimination. Groot caught forward. Impunity caught by the enemy walls. Couldn't get in. Is going to get 3D printed back into the engagement. Shroud-X loses their Magneto as well, so struggling to keep that front line alive. Shikigami looking to clean this one up. Now Vision, though, wants to find the opportunity. Maybe with the damage amp. Could find instant kills. No connection.
Speculative there, I think, from the Horn of Proteus. Doesn't also have a great sightline as he's forced to drop down behind some of these walls. Impunity falls yet again. Not a good look here for Shroud-X on defense. Nuck, of course, has the damage booster, the CYA, but it doesn't really help. It doesn't make the difference, I think, for Shroud-X, mostly forced off the point, and they've had to give it up. No touch in the dying moments. The Shikigami and the Symbiote are off to the races.
Shroud-X, I think, make the wise decision to just back off there, take a better fight a little bit later onto the payload. Cart is rolling, though, for Shikigami.
I like that. CYA popped. Yeah, the damage boost, of course, plus the ammo invention for Doom just to go absolutely ham. That's kind of why Rocket Raccoon is powerful. I don't know about broken, but I can see why Shroud-X, Jake, feel like they'd like to go for it as well if it's going to be protected.
Yeah, maybe I see now the vision on this map with like a lot of these very long range situations. You can't necessarily force something super aggressive to happen. So just having better range poke damage from that global damage amp on the rest of your team is just incredibly powerful. It's good enough. Less emphasis on the defense, on tanking through ultimates, more emphasis on just raw pressure on the opponents as they walk up.
Doomed here with an off angle, a little awkward with the walls in play. He might look to go for a Kraken impact, but Crazy Man just gets blown to smithereens. Now it's a bit of janitorial duty as Doom just going to clear those monster spawns, and Crazy Man is going to be BRB back into the fight. Here comes the Kraken impact now, and Daze hits hard. 3 players affected by it, but the healing is good enough for Shroud-X for the time being. Doom, though, couldn't survive the Meteor M. Buddy hell, it's the kitchen sink being thrown at them now as Daze gets the resets that comes in after that Horn of Proteus connected. We're still getting resets now. Tonight is for Daze if you're a Shroud-X fan, as Shikigami keep the push going.
Took everything in the bank to get it done, but they get through that critical choke point, and now Shroud-X is on the retake. They've got the Vanguard ultimates nearly online, so there's a real recipe, I think, to make the hold at the end of this payload checkpoint. Shikigami, they don't want to let that happen. They want to find some explosive and early pickoffs. But as they take this high ground, it looks like they're not really going to be forcing the issue, giving Shroud-X a little bit of time to regroup. Let's see what the defenders use with that space.
It's likely, yeah, Shikigami just want to abuse this high ground if they can, but they don't have the kind of range that would allow them to do so. Maybe they're hoping Amadian can strike a mortal blow with some of this poke damage now, as they have an inherent positional advantage. Eventually, though, they've got to drop down. Once more, the ammo invention is going to be deployed now. CYA in play. Here comes a Meteor M, though. I'd be afraid. And Dongmin turns Daze and Amadian into a smear on the wall. That is a dirty Magneto ult. And Shikigami finally are brought to a halt.
Dongman, he's been so consistent on this Magneto, not only with the ultimates, of finding a ton of opening pickoffs as well. Shroud-X are going to lose Nuck, but it doesn't really matter. Should be easily back into the next team fight. Shikigami back to the drawing board, and 50 seconds on the clock, this kind of a long distance from spawn, you're looking at a final team fight scenario.
46 seconds left in the round. Impunity might be looking for an early strangling prison here. Before Shikigami have a chance to react, they've of course got the combo with this Kraken impact. So this round could be over here and now. Impunity opts at least to assume the high ground here and has the feeling that Shikigami are looking to wrap around. This might be, though, straight into a trap. Bionic Arm going to catch Doomed out, though. This could be scary. He gets a ball walked on and is kept in the fight. Strangling Prison committed, and that's going to be enough. Surely, Kraken impact. Feels like it's not even needed. They went for it anyway. And there goes Shikigami now. Jake, they do not have enough time to have a proper crack at this.
Yeah, any stagger is going to be the game, and I wonder, even without it, Shikigami may need to go to Doctor Strange here for a desperation touch. They're going to do just that. I wonder, though, Shroud-X, have they pushed too far off the spawn? If they get this TP in time, they are going to get the touch. They are going to be able to flip.
No. Okay, they've got to go through this TP if they can, but Daze has got to lock them out with the Doctor Strange. They can break through the shield, but Nuck's been taken down by the Ice Arts here, and things have gotten a little weird, folks. Here's the Strangling Prison, came down from Crazy Man. Fidel fell to the combo. Amadian going to be able to find 3 kills in this fight, and Shikigami, him, will give it a new lease on life, a chance to play the back 9 of the map.
Ah, that's massive. They're able to break it open in the final seconds. That strange TP. Once again, Shikigami playing with those little tiny margins, but it makes the difference. They get the execution they were looking for. And even getting to this final point on Symbiotic Surface is already, I think, a win for the attackers. Shroud-X, they really need to get the hold here. A full cap is a rare thing for the offense.
A minute still to play with, or thereabouts. It's a decent amount of time, but Shikigami have got to be pretty quick about it. This is where Rocket Raccoon's healing can be a little bit hard to consistently guarantee now because we're playing out in the open and not in these hallways. But that's what Shikigami were looking for. Meteor M collapses on Impunity and Dongmin will be brought back into the fight, but Doomed had already been on the way out. So Nut can only stall here, jumping up, making use of this Rocket Raccoon mobility, to be a bit of a nuisance. Dongmin has to do the same. Buy time for the lion's share of Shroud-X to get back into the fight because they do have a little bit to work with, including another CYA. That 40% damage boost, Jake, is nothing to scoff at.
It's nice, but they're going to have to get it done with just that. They're going to have, as well, the Doctor Strange ultimate from Daze, but we've seen teams get so good at denying the value. And hold on, they just instantly burst him down. He is going to get rezzed by the BRB, but he's going to be out of position now. Shroud-X sweeping forward with ultimates, looking to clean this up and end this attack in its tracks.
They're setting up here. Crazy Man with the walls. Daze popped pretty instantly. There's not much he can do. This triple Vanguard setup from Shikigami might be running out of gas here. Doom tries to push forward and can at least finish the job on Ricky and can make use of the mobility offered by Kraken Impact to return to the fray. Finally, Shiki stopped in their tracks, but Jake, I feel like they got a lot more than Shroud-X bargained for.
Time to switch things up, including
It's a great hold from Shroud-X there at the end. They get it done with a nice final team fight. However, Shikigami, I think they're going to be feeling pretty good. I mean, there's a couple moments where it felt like they were going to get held on first, maybe getting held at the end of second, and both times they overcame that. So I think on the defense, Shikigami have a very real shot to extend this series to a decisive Game 5.
The runner back here. So much hinges, I think, on how effective this first point defense can be. Shikigami didn't actually opt to make use of the Doctor Strange until that last desperate fight to get into the third phase of the map here. That's, of course, an option to you, but for attackers here on Symbiotic Surface, you've got decent flank routes onto the point as it is that can allow you to sort of get there. You can see here Dune putting out about 20k damage here, which is pretty absurd in the context of what we've seen in the lobby. Thinks also really benefiting from, being on that attack side that last round where the 22k heal put down. Pretty nice to see.
Yeah, that defending Winter Soldier is so potent. Look at that, 55% accuracy for Doomed. He is kind of smoking the competition when it comes to the Winter Soldier here. Let's see if he can keep that up on the offense. It's certainly a strength if they can find those opening picks. That's usually your best shot on attack. If you end up in these like extended exchange trade engagements, it seems like the defenders usually get the better, especially with, this spawn is pretty far away from the point on attack on Symbiotic Surface. So losing a player or two can be really costly. There's always the threat of a retake.
Okay, just some poke damage being put down by Doomed now. Just as Jake pointed out, had a really good first round. Up in the top right, there you'll notice
right now.
Yeah, big deeps being put down. This is also without the ammo invention for infinite ammunition. Walls being cleared out by Impunity here, of course, to deny Crazy Man free damage if he chooses to fight them here. And Shikigami, Jacob, let Shroud-X push up pretty far.
Yeah, now they're going to drop the Z-Pack, full committing on Doom, who's just laying in that damage. However, Dongmin gets focused down in the same time, is going to get res back in by the BRB. Hooks being traded here on the flank. Doom dropping low, being focus-fired, and Daze wins the duel.
I tell you what, man, the Bionic Arm really huge in moments like that to just pull a player out of formation and burst them down with the combo that you have access to. Now Shikigami should be able to stagger this out a little bit further. Dongmin wary of it, but sees Ricky unprotected, exposed in the backline, and is able to take down that Lunar Snow. BRB is going to bring the Luna back into the fight, but Shikigami's defenders have got to be careful of little moments like that. Dongmin has taken every lemon and turned it into lemonade over the course of this whole series. Huge pick from the Magneto, and now Shroud-X are fighting on the point properly. Here comes the CYA, big damage boost now, and that's a pretty scary combo with the Meteor M. Dongmin lets it go, but doesn't quite connect. Crazy Man goes low enough, though, and can be worked out once the Strangling Prison was deployed. Impunity had that one stashed away for a rainy day, and Shroud-X here begin the cap.
Yeah, I don't know if Shikigami are going to have any shot at a retake here. Amadian not even electing to use that bubble, just doesn't even want to delay his own death. I think a good decision there. Shroud-X get the cart rolling in much quicker time than Shikigami were able to on their offense. So Shroud-X going to be feeling pretty good, going to be feeling the momentum. That being said, the momentum is going to be challenging to maintain. Shikigami have the bank of ultimates. They have the edge here on this defense. Let's see how they play it out.
I mean, Shroud-X, I mean, just want to win a fight with really positive ult economy, i.e. somehow find a way to win in the next 2 fights against Shikigami. I think given the setup here would be great because they are in a trough in terms of their ultimate charges, as you can see. Because the dive in there, pretty aggressive. Doomed, does not fancy. Getting caught out by this Meteor. Scattergenki uses it really just to zone with, just dangles it aggressively in the face of Shikigami. What a Proteus, it's dirty! Oh, buddy, that is filth! Amadi able to find 3. Shroud-X here, need to pack it up. Been put in a body bag.
Not the end of the world for Shroud-X, but they did deploy a couple key ultimates, not also the fight they were looking for that really changes the ultimate economy situation. Shikigami, once again, they're going to have the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier, the Luna Snow ultimate as well, the Kraken Impact, some key tools on this defense. Shroud-X, let's see how they execute the walk-up. This is a challenging moment, right? I mean, look at this position from the Moor with the strategist. So hard to clear this high ground.
Shroud-X here, we said, the next 2 fights, they're looking for a win, even though they're hugely disadvantaged. Doom there just got taken down by poke damage now. Dace here can throw in a Kraken Impact. He doesn't need to overextend into this now. You see he's playing pretty safe. Dongmin uncharacteristically goes for a hyper-aggressive Meteor M. That's something that maybe could have been saved for, another fight. Crazemang's going to be out of action for now, and of course will be brought back with the BRB. And Shroud-X need to go for this here. They've got a Horn of Proteus and they're close to a Strangling Prison, but can they get a good connection with that Cruel Ultimate to guarantee a team fight win?
Yeah, see if they can just work the cart up here. Dongmin keeping his focus on that high ground. They're laying down some suppressive fire on those duelists. Hook is blocked. Great awareness from Dongmin. We've seen how good Daze is with that tool. Impunity looking for the Strangling Prison, but it comes in first from the defenders once again. Shikigami just clean house. Shroud-X sent reeling back to the spawn.
And realistically, Jake, that is a fight that Shroud-X probably want to take. I think they realized at one point Impunity is getting too low in the front line. Too much damage coming his way. Dongmin tries to throw him a bulwark to keep him in the fight because, of course, that Guru ultimate needs to be there. And they don't want Impunity desperately, throwing it out there at a bit of a weird timing, making it hard for Vision to combo. So Shroud-X say, okay, guys, we're going to take another L here. That's 3 lost fights in a row, by the way, and try and come back and set our key ultimate up. They are so close to winning the series and getting in to our money match, Jake.
The execution on the Moor and the Luna Snow needs to be perfect. They have everything they need. Brute ult for the setup. Will they find that one shot? They don't get it, though. With the whale connection, it's not enough, and that's huge for Shikigami.
That was their win condition, the silver bullet, but the Luna Snow ultimate denies so much of that. And the walls that were thrown up there by Crazy Man meant that so much of that damage was prevented. Amadian's got an amazing vantage point here, and of course, more of those monster spawns are being set up on the walls. The poke damage keeps raining in. Daze going to go for it now. Sees Fidel a little bit low and tries to connect, but they're going to be healed up. Ice Arts is active, and Daze has to look elsewhere. Shikigami might have just let Shroud back into this game. Unreal. Horn of Proteus are ready for Amadian, but they get taken down. And so the S-Men can keep rolling.
Big respect to Fidel there. Just dropped the schmoves on Daze. Daze couldn't connect any of those follow-up shots. If he gets the reset on that initial strike of the Kraken Impact, that could turn into one of those classic again and again fights. But Fidel dances well, stays alive, and they're able to turn and clean up that Winter Soldier. A massive swing for Shroud-X.
But look at Shikigami, have the Surf and Durf combo now. Can this be denied, dude? You can see desperately Impunity's trying to break them up, stacking them out with some of these walls to make it harder for them to get their ducks in a row, and it's worked! Okay, they get rid of the Doctor Strange. Still more work to be done, though. Excuse me, the Magneto fell to Impunity. These walls breaking up line of sight. Shikigami, awkwardly, can't get used out of their ultimates. Amadian tries to combo here. That Homo Proteus comes in, and it catches nobody. Shikigami forced to filter in one after another with these walls in the way. Had the fight-winning combo, the map-winning combo potentially, Jake, and they can't deploy it.
Yeah, they just couldn't get into position. And I think notoriously this point is so difficult to recontest on Symbiotic Surface. It's why we see so many teams committing to those very aggressive forward holds, dumping ultimates, really gambling that you can make the hold earlier on in the point. Because if you're forced to retake through those chokes, it is a bad time. You just can't get into position, can't get the sight lines, even to deploy something like the Horn of Proteus.
Okay, off to the races we go. Remember, minute 33. Very vulnerable here for Shroud-X. This is going to be a successful fight, and they're running into some of these key abilities right now. Meteor M on the horizon, as is Fidel's ultimate, but Martin's able to take them down. The monster spawns here a little bit different. However, Crazy Man falls and Fidel's going to be able to get back into the fight. Remember, Rocket Raccoon can keep you rolling after losing a player, denying that pick potential. And Domi wants to get aggressive towards his back line now. He's looking straight at the Lunar Snow, but Ricky couldn't hold up in the heat anyway. Shikigami have been vanquished as Shroud-X advance to the money match.
And it's a reversal of fortune here in the challenger match. Shroud-X, last time they faced Shikigami, it was them who fell 3-1. Now they win by the same margin. They're going to go on to face 100 Thieves in that money match. Doomed. Big performance on the Winter Soldier. The double down on this pick with that Rocket Raccoon, and Trust looks to have been placed well. Over 31,000 damage dropped in that last round.
Oh my God, that is so filthy. We talked about it, just what the defensive side Winter Soldier can do, and Doomed, of course, was comboing beautifully with a lot of those Strangling Thorns. There were multiple options, right, to combo with your Groot ultimate here, and both teams at times had struggled to deploy them properly, but Shroud-X were patient. There was one fight, I think, where they lost their Magneto, and they said, you know what, we have the ultimate combo here. Let's just lose our third fight in a row. Come back, be patient. We can still finish the map if we start to build up some momentum, build up a head of steam. And at times the chips fell in favor of Shroud-X there because Shikigami also had their wombo combo, the Surf and Turf pocket. They couldn't use it properly because they were forced to retake awkwardly through a choke. They constantly got blocked by these Groot walls.
Yeah, it felt like you were playing Tetris at the end of that game. That looked very frustrating at the end of point two. Shikigami was in it. They had the lead in the series, and then Shroud-X walks away with the W. Jake, I have a feeling this isn't the end of their appearances here on Rivals Fight Night, though. We'll see these teams again.
Yeah, Shikigami, I think they have a lot to be happy with today, despite going down 3-1. It was very close. It was very competitive. It's always going to sting to have a reversal of fortune against a team that you have already beaten. But like you said, we're going to see more tournaments, more appearances for the Shikigami squad. And I think they have a lot to be excited about going ahead in the future in Marvel Rivals.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this game 4 and talk about what we saw from Shroud-X, because they're just warming up, Uber. Now you get a chance to take on Nadeshot's 100 Thieves. The crew that came from Controller Overwatch, now dominating our hero shooter.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see this great stuff from Shroud-X. And the fact that we get Nadeshot versus Shroud in our money match here just makes it just that little bit more sweeter. But look, we saw 3 kind of different styles, I think, from the Shroud-X team, right? They started off by, mirroring the Hela. That's when they started to find an edge. Then we went over, of course, to the Adam Warlock plus Star-Lord combination. That worked really well. They had a great anti-dive comp on Shin-Shibuya. And then finally, we went over towards the Rocket Raccoon team up, where both teams had to get as much value as possible out of their Winter Soldiers respectively. I think, Vision and Doomed, you just can't take anything away from these guys. The quality on the Shroud-X team is kind of blowing my mind right now. There are some generally known names on the Shikigami team, some, known players here, quantities. Shroud-X, they run away with this game. I'm really impressed. It looked like they were just unstoppable by the end of it.
Jake, I'll be honest, I missed a whole half of that game 4 because I was watching the chat argue it was a Rocket Raccoon main versus everyone else who plays support or a strategist role. And I feel like the Rocket Raccoon main is like, I told you, this is why we're in the game. This is why we exist, to enable Doomed to do what he just did.
I mean, we saw the BRB having a lot of impact in that game, the ultimate as well, like the damage amp. But I think you're right, critically, that Z-Pack. I mean, whenever we're on Doom's cam, when he's got infinite ammo, it just looks gross, man. He is chopping up Vanguards left, right, and center. Definitely a strength here that Shroud-X can rely on going into this money match against 100 Thieves. That being said, this is still a bit of a David and Goliath matchup. I mean, Shroud-X, they haven't reached this level before. They haven't reached this opportunity to challenge, I would say, definitively the best team in North America in 100 Thieves. Many teams have tried. Many have fallen in, brutal fashion. And so I will say this is a tough one for them. Despite their success, despite the momentum, they've got a lot riding on this.
It's going to be a fun one. Good luck, everyone involved. My man, Tara, I've been watching his stream. Disgusting on Star-Lord. We got a little witness of what Doomed is bringing on the Star-Lord, but if it comes to the triple strategist comp, that kind of was an edge for Shroud-X tonight, right, Jake?
Yeah, I think it's something that they could lean on. However, I think to beat 100 Thieves, it's going to be way beyond any one single composition. I think to beat the best teams in Marvel Rivals right now, you need to have a deep book of strategy. You need to be able to execute everything at the highest level, even from the ban pick format. I think that Shroud-X, they've been showed that they're a team that always bans Wolverine. Some teams have decided that that's the way they're going to approach the first ban. 100 Thieves is not that team. 100 Thieves has, from what I've seen, they don't hard block their first ban. They're always trying to attack whatever their opponent's strengths are and rely on their own flexibility, which gives them, I think, an innate advantage. If you're not ever willing to play Wolverine and you're always going to ban it, you know, forever, that's something that another team could exploit. They know that, they have an expectation of that, and they can craft their strategies. Whereas a team like 100 Thieves that is just very hard to predict and is always punishing whatever their opponents rely on tends to have a bit of an edge strategically.
Well, we have some terrible news, guys. I was trying to load up the Venom twerk. It crashed our replay machine. So we are going to go to a break here. We're going to get those up and running.
No,
and we are going to have your MVP, your finalist as well. Shroud-X moves on to play against 100 Thieves. I'm sorry, we tried to put ZP's face on the Venom booty. It just did not work. 100 Thieves taking on Shroud-X just like we scripted it. Jake, does this one go to a game 5 for the first time tonight?
I would be impressed with Shroud-X if they can force this to a game 5. I would love to see it. However, 100 Thieves, historically, they have not shown any mercy to those that have faced them in the Challenger match. I'm just excited to see what our top dogs in NA can deliver.
Thank you all for tuning in. Do us a favor, head on over to twitch.tv/Rivals Fight Night. Hit that follow button. When we come back, more of your favorite Uber X. Well, Shroud-X and Uber.
I get it. I like it.
Yeah. Bang!
Damn.
Yo, you guys notice those whales have feet?